Hello everybody, Bill Batson here, Batson Enterprises. Today we're doing episode 2 of our featured rod builders within the Batson collection. Like I've mentioned before, there's over 650 rods in the Batson collection. I'm taking some of my favorite rod builders, or I have more of their rods than other people's. But today we're doing Mark Kraus. Mark Kraus has a special spot in my heart. He knew my father. My father had met him at a show over 20 years ago. And one of the first things my dad told me when he came back from the show is, hey, keep an eye on this guy, Mark Kraus. He's a talented builder, awesome guy, and help him out every chance you get. So even though my father's passed away over 17 years ago, Mark and I still have a relationship, and he's built many rods for the Batson collection, and some of them are very dear to my heart, and I'll explain more of those later. But here's one that I have here in the conference room. It is a rod that Mark Kraus built. It has a Batson weave that says ALPS on it. It has all of the ALPS components. He made the custom case for a show, and I really like this rod. The case alone is amazing how it spins. So we're going to walk through the facility because I have Mark's rods throughout the facility. I have some up at the front in glass cases, some in some special boxes that are made for it. So I'm going to go around the facility, collect them all, and go back into our filming room and break them down one by one. Mark Kraus rods. Thank you. This is one that we have here in a glass case. Right up front, Mark Kraus made for my father. We're going to try to get a picture of this, of the plaque that he made in regards to my father. So I'm going to pull this down, being very careful not to break anything. See if I can put it here on the table. Pull it out of the case and we can break it down. And here's another rod we have up here. This is called the Green Viper rod. The case, the Green Viper case, was made special, and I'll tell you more about this. Yep, so we'll get that. I'm going to grab some of these pieces here from these rods and break them down one by one within the conference room. I'm going back to my office. This one, go ahead and get this one. It's a beautiful box, handmade box. It's called The Last One. And we open it up. The rod is amazing. How the grips match. The box. So we'll take this one also. All right. All right, folks, here we are in the photo room to talk about the Mark Kraus rods that we have in our collection. There's more than this, but these are some of my favorite ones. I want to tell you a little bit about Mark Kraus. Mark Kraus is an awesome guy. My father knew him, like I said earlier. When we were in the conference room, a little story about my father meeting him at a show and all of that. Well, my father passed away almost 18 years ago, and my father and Mark had a relationship, and one of the last things my father did before he passed away, my father was a designer, and he was the wiggle guy for making blanks and things like that. Very well known in the industry, and all the credit that where we are today is because of my father's ground rules that we have implemented since he's passed away. But Mark Kraus did an awesome thing. The last thing my father did was he built a 3-piece steelhead blank, travel steelhead blank. Awesome little blank. 3 of them were run, and then my father passed away. In memory of my father, we decided to keep those 3 and burn the pattern. Never can be made again, just in honor of my father for what he'd done in the industry. And And Mark Kraus found out about these 3 blanks and wanted to do something very special. We have some pictures of it earlier, me pulling it out of the case, and we have them one in a glass case and one in a beautiful box. But if I get emotional about this, it's because it means a lot to me and my family, what Mark Kraus has done for us and our family. And I just want to thank him, first of all, for putting the energy and time into all of the pieces that we have in the Batson collection. So let's start with those first 2 rods. So the first rod is the Bob Batson signature rod. And this is one of the 3 blanks. So if you want to come in close, I can explain a little bit here. So first thing Mark Kraus wanted to do was build my father the ultimate steelhead blank. So he asked for my father's signature, and he made the signature into a weave. You can see here my father's signature, Bob Batson, and then that's exactly how he used to write it. Obviously I know what my dad's signature looks like. And then he did a beautiful faded scale pattern, right? And then he did this red banded steelhead. No, that is not a decal. That is actually a weave. He did the red banded steelhead on here. The blank is green. The theme was green, so Mark decided to take some box elder burl dyed green, turn it down, and also at the same time, Mark has a beautiful shop. We have pictures of him. We'll show you. He has capabilities to do a lot of different things, but he machined the aluminum and the brass to mix in. Made a beautiful foregrip. He took that same box elder burl and made a trigger reel seat out of it. Beautiful. And he did the same thing on the back end here with more machining with the box elder burl, with the green burl cork composite with the cork. And you can see the theme through the whole rod. Everything is smooth, Mark Kraus style, just beautiful, all the way down to the rear grip, to the butt cap. More machining, beautiful piece. This is my father's signature rod. Means a lot to me and my family, obviously. We miss my father. We would not be the company we are today without my father's influence within Carrie and I, and the vision that he had for us, and the way that we conduct business to this day is the same as it was when my father was alive. So anyways, that's the first Mark Kraus that I'm going to show you today, the signature rod. All right. Next rod in the series, he built this one a few years later with the same blanks. There was 3 blanks made. 2 of them were built into rods. The other one is in a safety deposit box, like I said, and we burned the pattern. This we call the Green Viper. So Mark wanted to do something a little different. He made that beautiful box that you saw earlier, the showpiece box, and in this one he did a weave, Green Viper weave. Underneath, if you look very carefully, you can see the Green Viper. This is actual Green Viper skin underneath there that he dyed and cured. He cured. And then we have the Green Viper weave that Mark Kraus did here. It's a beautiful weave. And then he made these carbon grips from scratch, along with incorporated, this is all Batson stuff, and so he incorporated the ALPS trigger reel seat with the double locking nuts. We were one of the first to do that, if not the first. He got this beautiful insert from a friend of his in Germany, Christian from CMW, gave him that insert, and then he made a matching rear grip. And then we have the ALPS triangle butt. So you can see the detail in his craftsmanship. And this is just another rod. The box, the showpiece box, is amazing. And that is also up front in our facility in the front. As soon as you walk in, you see these rods along with some other rods. I also have another rod up there that he did for me. It has the Batson logo on it. It has my initials on it. It has a halibut with his mouth opening up. It's a halibut rod that he built for me, and it also spins. So that's another rod. Like I said, we can't go through all of them, but we're going to go through some of my favorites. So this is rod number 2, and this is the Green Viper. Rod number 3, Mark Kraus built for me for steelhead fishing. And I've actually caught fish on this. I've taken it out fishing. This is a IST 1264 built into a spinning rod. It's a 2-piece RainShadow blank. This blank is a Made in USA blank that we've had. As you can see through the detail, he's done some diamond cross wraps. here underneath the guide even, you know, and this is a spinning rod. And then he incorporated it as throughout the rod. And you can see here, he actually put my initials, WB for William Batson in a weave. And then he did the classic Mark Kraus transition scale pattern, just amazing. And then he did my jumping steelhead. That's a weave, jumping out to grab a fly or a lure. Beautiful. Everything's flat. Finish coats are flat. Everything is smooth, clean, right on point. He actually took a fly reel seat here. It fits a spinning reel that I would use. It's a double locking nut fly seat. And then he incorporated, you know, cork with winding checks and that blue throughout the rod, along with the Batson AF2 butt. And this rod right here, I have fished. I have caught fish with it. I think Mark might have been with me one time. We actually went steelhead fishing with it. So this is a fishing rod that I use, that I enjoy. Rod number 3 for our feature today. So I'll put that one away. The next one is another rod Mark Kraus built for me. All right, you can see here, make sure we get to see everything. This one is actually an RDR, Downrigger rod that I actually fish with also. It has a spiral wrap design, especially for downrigger fishing. It's nice to have the spiral wrap design. The rod doesn't roll on you, those types of things. You can see nice and clean work. Custom guides, these are black and silvers. And you put my initials, Bill Batson. Sometimes I go by William Batson or Bill Batson. BB was my father's initials, so I don't use that as much as I used to. I go with WB now mostly, but this is a BB rod. And it has the classic pattern, the faded fish scale pattern. And this particular one has a tribal salmon. Mark Kraus was up here visiting with us and fishing with us, and I've got some pictures I'm going to share of Mark with us fishing 15, 20 years ago. Anyways, we'll get into that story later. But this is the tribal salmon that he had inspired when he was up here. And this particular rod has the EVA foregrip. It has the ALPS reel seat. It has the textilium handle, which I really enjoy for downrigger rods, pulling it out of the downrigger. It's like a slick butt design, you know, so. And this rod gets used. You can see a little wear on the reel. And then the ALPS fancy butt cap, the bedazzled butt cap, I call it. And you can see on the back end of it, it even has a little fish on the back end, but my bedazzled butt cap. So that's rod number 3. Number 4. And another rod Mark Kraus did. This one is an amazing rod. I grabbed this one because it's got a lot going on. This rod was built for the 2015, I think it says 15, World Rod Building Challenge. And Mark Kraus gave this to me for our collection. All right, there's a lot going on up here, as you can see. Let me spin it around. Excuse me. Might be easier to read it this way. There we go. And this one is, you know, the Rod Builders Challenge 2015. Beautiful rod, as you can see. The black and gold theme. I had some special guides made for him with gold ring, gold frames. And this one actually has Mark's initials on it. Mark Stephen Kraus. And you can see all of the JTOBs in here, the olive branches, Jim Trelick's olive branches, and then all of this just beautiful gold work with the dragon. I mean, the dragon is amazing. That's one of the reasons I grabbed this rod, is because of the dragon. The dragon weave, and then all of the stuff going on here. And then he even took the foregrips and put an inlay of gold inlay leaf inside underneath the finish coat on top of the wood to match the ALPS gold reel seat. And he used that theme throughout the rod and put some more of it in here. And it's just amazing to see that. You know, I know that's hard. That's hard to do on top of that wood with the finish coat. If you look, everything's always smooth. Everything's transitions, girls. Everything is, you know, perfect. You know, and that's, as a rod builder, that's what you look for. And even all the way down into the rear grip, it has a split grip design. And then it has the ALPS triangle butt cap on the back. This is another beautiful piece. If I was going to go out and count how many Mark Krauses are here. There's probably a dozen throughout the facility. Like I said, I'm just going to highlight these for now. And all right, and the last rod we're going to feature, funny enough, it's called the last one. This rod is on loan from a friend of mine who bought this from Mark Kraus at an event. It comes in a beautiful box. I think we're going to show that a little bit later. But this one was built in memory of his show, but it never was the last one, but they called this the last one. So you can see the last one. And this is all a weave. Then you've got his beautiful wraps. Then you've got another weave of a fish. And he's turned down some brass here, which he made the foregrip as the same material as the box. And he's got some beautiful decorative inlays into his wood. And what I did, and more brass, turning brass. Like I said, he's got an amazing facility. He can do a lot of different things, engraving and everything, along with the ALPS reel seat. More engraving. Like I said, the wood matches the box with more inlays into his wood. More machine work. Another piece here and a machine piece on the end. This is a beautiful piece. And this is a 2-piece salmon rod, and it is a fishing rod. I mean, this rod will fish at some point. Right now, it is on display via one of my friends that purchased the rod and wanted me to display within the Batson facility. We've got a very beautiful collection, and I like to share, you know, all of these people's work with everybody. So we're not doing our shows anymore, so I don't get to take them. Well, I shouldn't say anymore. As of now, we're not doing shows. We will get back to doing shows where I can take some of this stuff and display it, but I want to share it now because people are stuck at home, and this is a good time to share. So that's the second episode. Mark Kraus, awesome guy. Can't say enough about him. I know him and my dad were friends. We have a relationship. I still see him quite often. He comes up to Sequim to see Carrie and us once in a while. But I just want to thank everybody and all the builders and everybody who makes this possible, because like I said before, none of this is possible without the support people give Batson Enterprises. Our next episode, I will be highlighting Jim Treleckis, who's also a friend of mine, who's built quite a few rods for the Batson collection. He's also done a lot of charity work for us, and I support him, and he's another awesome builder. Go ahead and make sure you go to our YouTube station and subscribe. Right here, Jeff's going to throw that in for us, and be looking for more from Batson Enterprises. And don't forget about making comments. I love the comments. People made some awesome comments last time in regards to the Doc Ski video, the video I did with Doc Ski, and the featured rods that I did for Doc Ski. The comments were amazing. Keep the comments coming. Call us anytime. Ask any kind of questions. We're here for the industry. We love and care for everybody. And have a nice day. Aloha. Fish on. Hello everybody. Little side story from Mark Kraus and I. This is a cool picture of Mark and I. Mark's been up here quite a few times, go fishing with the Batsons. This picture is probably, if I was going to guess, 16 years old, maybe 15, 16 years old. Him and I and Carrie, this is Carrie's old boat back in the day, out at Nia Bay fishing for lingcod and rock bass and whatever else we could catch. I think I caught a king on this day throwing a jig. But this is a cool story. Mark and I were fishing, and we were fishing for these lingcod, and they kept rocking us, and finally I got the first one, and Mark's like, "Oh, you got Pac-Man, you got Pac-Man." And then I got the second one. He's like, "Oh, you got both of them." And I'll never forget. I mean, this is an awesome day, hanging out with my friend Mark Kraus. I hope to have more awesome adventures with him. Amazing.